energy systems are kind of the basis for how we train and how we actually exercise, right? So in the body, it's all about using energy to create ATP to do work in our muscles. And that's what's happening when we exercise. And there are different ways that we can create this ATP, which is like, you can think of it as a currency for muscular contraction. And there are different ways that we can create that. Some create tons of ATP, which means we can do tons of work really, really quickly, but they fatigue really fast. So an example of that one would be the phosphagen system, where what we're doing is we're breaking down a PCR molecule, and then we're getting tons of ATP. So we would use that system for something like a sprint, but it doesn't last a very long time, 8 to 10 seconds.
That's right. It's about, in this sense, regeneration of that system in order to continue to supply ATP. Yes, we can get a lot and we can get it super fast, but if you're following the green line there, it's gone after only a few seconds. And that's where we have these other energy systems in support of that. Their anaerobic system, which we know is super important, but it also has a finite or peak rate at which it can supply ATP. We're not going to be able to rely on our anaerobic system for an Ironman or, a 100-mile mountain bike race, hours and hours. We can use it as a supporting system because, like this diagram shows, it's a continuum. While training zones might say 85%, 95%, there is no hard and fast switch or barrier in our energy systems. So we have that anaerobic system, which, we're going to use at a high rate for those 1 to 2 minute bouts of exercise. But as we get on further into duration of the 10 minutes plus, it's the aerobic system that is going to be the most prominent system we're using to generate that ATP, and is also the most efficient system for generating ATP. And the aerobic system is about converting fat and oxygen into a usable form of energy, which is our currency, ATP. And we can use that ATP to generate muscular contractions. So just give an idea of how that works, if we have a look at this running example, it was around the AIS, Australian Institute of Sport, applied this study to see just how important is the aerobic system and other energy systems in differing durations of running. So we had 10 seconds around 100 meters, 400 meters, 800 meters or quarter mile, half mile, and then the marathon, right? 42 Ks, 26 miles. And you can see as soon as we get up to around that 2 minutes, we're still relying 50% on the aerobic system, all the way up to the marathon, which is almost 100% of the aerobic system. So that is going to be, such an important part in training. And Matt, traditionally, if you'd started off and said 2 minutes, what kind of energy system is that using? What would you have said?
Yeah, I think most people would say anaerobic. And it does kind of make sense. Like if you went all out for 2 minutes, it would feel really hard, and it would feel what we'd describe as something like anaerobic, because we'd feel a lot of that burning. And one of the nice examples that I like to use is sprinting to the donut shop. Like if you and I we wanted to have a race to the donut shop.
Like when Krispy Kreme turns on the fresh side.
Yeah. So if that's like, 5 miles away, we're like really excited to get out there and get those donuts, right? So we both sprint as hard as we can to go get those donuts. And we might go really, really fast for a short period of time. But as that PCR system starts to fatigue, we have to slow down, right? We're not able to keep up that rate of work with our ATP PCR system. So we have to slow down and rely more on anaerobic glycolysis. So we can do that, and it still feels really hard, but we're going much more slowly because we're not able to keep up with the rate of ATP production that we would like to. Eventually, after a few minutes, that anaerobic system starts to fatigue as well. So we have to slow down even more. So we're getting closer to the donut shop. We can almost see it. We can smell it. And we want to keep going as fast as we can because I want to beat you there. But we actually have to slow down. So at that point, we're relying primarily on our aerobic system. So, if I really want donuts more than you, or maybe I'm really nicely trained as a sprinter, we might be neck and neck almost to the donut shop. But then I have this final kick where I could sprint past you and get in line. So that's really good because my ATP PCR system has been able to regenerate, which is a rarity, right? But it's something that we really often need to do in races.
That's right, especially in attacking. And where this happens, Matt, mitochondria.